What's up, YouTubers? It's me. Uh, on today's video, I want to give a few points on the benefits of owning gold coins. Uh, Seems to be a lot of interest right now. It's 2016 and it's April. I noticed there's a lot more interest in gold and gold coins, and so this video is going to be about gold, the benefits of owning gold coins. And these are just a few of the benefits that just come to mind on why you might want to consider owning some gold coins and put them in your portfolio if you haven't already. One is we have a low price for gold right now. If I'm not mistaken, gold's at 1,250 or somewhere thereabouts. It's been in the $1,200 range for quite a while. And it dipped below that for a little while, but then it's kind of come back up, and now it looks like it's kind of selling off a little bit again today. So just one benefit is it's pretty cheap now. It's about 1,200 bucks, so it's not like it was before, like 300, 350, but it's not at 2,000 or 1,900 where it used to be. So now it could be a good opportunity if you don't have any gold coins in your possession. But anyways, one of the biggest benefits of owning gold coins has nothing to do with inflation or it being an inflation hedge, and that is privacy. So if you want to take a portion of your wealth offline and you don't want to have a portion of your wealth that can be followed electronically in the times we live in, owning a gold coin can do that. In other words, it's almost like owning a Swiss bank account in the 1960s or 70s when you could just carry in cash. You could wire it, of course, but you could just deposit cash even in the mail back in those days, and no one would be the wiser. And if you didn't tell anyone, no one would know. These are before the days when the government had when they spied on you electronically and when they spied on your mail and made photocopies of your mail and stuff like that. That's what they do nowadays. When you mail a letter outside the U.S. to a foreign country, they make a photocopy of the front and back, so they know who and what and where and all that kind of thing now. So that's one of the benefits of owning gold coins is you can take a portion of your wealth offline. It's almost, but not quite, as good as owning a Swiss bank account in the 1960s or 70s. Now, would you do it? I don't think most people would be willing to sell a portion of their wealth and invest in gold. And you can tell that just by the fact of where the price of gold is right now. But if you could have Swiss bank type privacy back in the 60s and 70s, would you do it? Well, the answer is most people wouldn't. But I think if you value your privacy, and you want a little bit more financial privacy for part and or a portion of your assets, you might want to buy gold. Consider owning gold coins and taking possession of them. Again, this is not electronic gold I'm talking about, and this is not storing gold overseas, but actually taking gold in your own possession. Um, another reason or another benefit of owning gold is it's a crisis hedge. I'm not talking about an inflation hedge, but a crisis hedge. As you may have noticed over the last few months, over this last election, the last few months of this election cycle in the U.S. If you don't know, in the U.S. we're in a presidential election cycle now, and things are getting kind of hot, and heavy, and interesting. It's been kind of an interesting cycle to watch. And I don't know if the price of gold is reflected in that, but it seems like the world economy is slowing down. It seems like there's not much inflation in the world economy right now. And it seems like the world economy is kind of deflating and the rate of growth of the world economy is slowing down. So it seems kind of funny that gold's been going up a little bit and been fairly strong. And believe it or not, there's still quite a few world governments or governments internationally buying gold. And every once in a while you read in the news how another multi-billionaire is buying gold coins and taking possession of them for at least a portion of his or her wealth. So that's kind of interesting. But one of the benefits of owning gold now is even without inflation, if there's some kind of economic crisis or some kind of biological crisis or some kind of terrorist crisis, it seems like that could benefit the holders of gold coins. So in that regard, I regard it as a crisis hedge, and that's I think what's driving the price of gold right now is we seem to be in an economic crisis and in kind of a government crisis of deficit spending and wars, that never seem to end. So it seems like a portion of the wealth of the world is going into gold coins, and people are taking possession and hiding it wherever they can, not just in the world's safety deposit boxes and vaults, but taking possession of it and put it in their backyard probably. Anyways, another benefit of owning gold coins is its portable wealth. In other words, you can take a large amount of wealth, convert it to gold coins, basically put about $250,000 in your front pocket if you do have a front pocket. I don't recommend owning gold bars, but you could buy a small gold bar and hide it real easy. So it's very portable. And another benefit of gold coins or bars, for that matter, is its liquidity. It's a very marketable asset. You can take almost any in the world. For example, you could take gold coins into Europe. You could take them into Western Europe, like Switzerland, Austria, Germany, even the UK, and you can sell gold or gold bars fairly easy. It's not really hard, and you can convert it into any of the local currencies there, and start over, make a living there, or whatever you want to do. So it's portable in that sense. Gold is even as liquid or even more liquid in a lot of Asian countries, like say Singapore or Hong Kong. Not all countries, of course. Like for example, just one country where gold coins aren't that liquid would be like the Philippines. Whereas like if you were to go to Thailand, gold is very liquid. Gold chains, gold bars, gold coins are very liquid. Same in China. If you happen to be in China, some of my friends have taken their gold coins to China and sold them there even. So even in communist China, you can buy and sell gold with relative ease and privacy if you want. So it's a nice portable asset. So if you ever get nervous or you want to take your wealth somewhere else, you can just get on the airplane and go. Of course, there's reporting requirements if you're an American, but there's some loopholes there if you don't want to report everything. There's a few loopholes there. I won't get into on this video, but if you need to take a large amount of gold out, it's really not that hard. But I'll give you a hint: don't get on an airplane. Anyways, another benefit of owning gold coins is it's an asset that if you buy it right, or if you buy it very privately with cash, or even if you use a check, if you do it a certain way, it's really hard for an investigator to find it. So like if you're having problems with legal problems, or if you want to kind of judgment proof a portion of your wealth, it's really hard for your enemies to figure out that you even bought it if you again bought it right. So for example, if you bought it through your lawyer and you picked it up at your lawyer's office, there won't be an electronic record of that. It'd be hard for someone to figure that out. And that's not the only way you could buy it. I mean, of course, you can pay cash and there's, pay use money orders and that kind of thing. If you use certain gold dealers, they have, well, I don't want to say a sloppy record keeping, but it's hard to get their records. But if you buy it a certain way, it can be a way to judgment proof your wealth. So if you're worried about a lawsuit, or if you're worried about visible wealth that could make you a target of a lawsuit, or if you live in parts of the world where you could be kidnapped because of your wealth, it's a nice way to take that money offline, or that wealth offline, and it's no one's really going to know about it if you purchase it right and store it right. It's a nice asset that can be invisible if that's what you want. Another benefit of gold is inflation. It can be an inflation hedge. So for example, typically we don't see gold perform that well if you have 2 or 3% inflation, although in recent years we've seen gold perform actually pretty well without a lot of inflation. So there's always exceptions to that. But in the 80s, I remember gold didn't perform too well. We had very low inflation, and it only seemed to perform well if you have inflation of 5 or 6% or more. And I believe with the slowing economy and with the desperation of central banks around the world, we're going to start to see more desperation in money printing and increasing the money supply from the Eurozone to Japan to the United States to Canada to Australia, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the government has some policy moves up its sleeves where it will have a way where banks will not be encouraged to park their excess capital at the Federal Reserve for 1/4 to 0.5%. And there might be some kind of penalty there, so they'll be in the position where they either have to lend it out or just totally close down their banks because their operating costs just to run their banks is so high that the interest they earn off their deposits isn't enough to cover their carrying costs. So I think by hook or crook or one way or the other, the government's going to put in some incentives that this increase in money supply will get out there eventually. Not right now because the economy is slowing down so much around the world, and it just caused a real rise in the dollar, which is surprising me because you've seen a strong dollar and kind of a strong gold price in the last few months. But until that fear subsides, I don't think we'll see a huge rise in inflation. But when it does, I think that will benefit gold. So it'll be kind of a crisis hedge, inflation hedge in the upcoming years. So that's another benefit you might want to consider if you're interested in purchasing gold coins, and why you might want to purchase them now because it's a good price. Let me think. Yeah, I don't know if anyone remembers the hypothecation. I can't even pronounce the word. Where banks aren't sure who owns what in the real estate world back when we had a real estate crisis in 2008, 2009. But many banks lent against property, and the title to that property is being disputed in court. And the same thing has happened with stock brokerage accounts, where those stock brokerage accounts were used as let me think now. I think it's the assets of these stock brokerage accounts were used as collateral for further loans, so it's not clear who owns what. And I think the word for that is hypothecation. I'm again not pronouncing it right, but if you're worried about who owns what, who has clear title to what, the safest investments you can make with a clear title would be probably land, at least for right now, in some cases anyways, at least in most of the world, maybe not all. And then the other thing, a clear title to where there won't be any disputes, if you own gold in your own possession. At least in common law countries, if you take gold in your own possession, he who owns it owns it. You don't even really have to show or supply receipts, although more and more in the United States that's getting to be the case. But generally speaking, in Commonwealth countries, whoever owns it or who owns possession of that asset, like in say cash or gold coins that are in your possession, you're the owner. So there's no disputing or disputes on who owns what. And in the next economic crisis, I think electronic assets may or may not be safe. I don't know, but if 2008, 2009 is any indication of the future, we can see where there might be losses and disputes on who has clear title to their stock brokerage accounts, who has clear title to, even in some cases, some cases in land, who actually owns the land, who doesn't. I suspect we'll have court cases clogging up the system for decades. So that's another benefit of owning gold coins. You have gold coins in your own possession, and which you can use for whatever you want, and with a highly likely outcome that those gold coins going forward from now will be worth more, and you can sleep a lot better at night knowing you have part of your wealth outside of the electronic bookkeeping entry world. No matter where you live in the world today, that's become quite a problem. So just to wrap up, the reasons a person might consider owning gold coins and the benefits is it's a crisis hedge, it's an inflation hedge, and it's a highly liquid asset and marketable asset, not just in North America, but all over the world, including Europe, Asia, and some parts of Latin America, not all, but some parts. And it's another benefit, the main benefit in my mind, without any worry of inflation or anything, is it's just a way to take part of your wealth private that no one can like electronically swoop on and know it. So like if you live in Latin America where kidnapping is kind of the flavor of the month, at least in some places, you don't want to have a lot of your wealth in your own personal name, so you might want to keep some of your wealth in a corporate account, some of your wealth in the land or in gold coins where your name's not listed on it. So it's an awesome way to judgment-proof part of your wealth and keep it offline and outside of your enemy's eyes and stuff like that. It's not easily to attach that asset or to seize that asset if you store it right and if you buy it right. So just a few benefits of owning gold coins. Anyhow, if you like the video, like it, leave me your comments and tell me what you think about it. And thanks for watching.